Much.
All right, the economic recovery all but stalled, folks, right now. President Obama's approval rating at only 44%. The midterm elections are around the corner. And now, two of the nation's biggest unions have joined forces to get out the vote in support of, well, who else? The Democrats. Will their money and power control the elections and thus the economy? Well, joining us now, Erica Payne, founder of the Agenda Project, and Todd Schoenberger, managing director for Land Colt Trading. And Erica, I'm going to start with you on this one because we're talking about $88 million.
Right.
These two unions who have not always gotten along very well in the sandbox are now joining forces. Do you think that they're going to dictate what the economic message will be and thus the economy?
Absolutely not. I mean, the unions always play a role in every election. They have since they formed. But what we have is a few different dynamics in this election. One is we've got the Tea Party. The second is we've got low approval rating. And the third is we have a bad economy. And so the unions, I think, like a lot of other groups, are going to try to make the case for what sort of politicians they want in office. But they're going to be one of a lot of voices, and they're a declining voice, I think, unfortunately, for a lot of working Americans.
Well, I mean, you know, Todd, here's the thing about these two unions. It's the AFL CIO. I mean, this is Richard Trumka, who has always kind of been that standalone horse in the race. He is actually saying that the union, a lot of union members, are not happy with the Obama administration's handling the economy, and that's why they want to get more money into the coffers for Democratic candidates.
That's right. Well, union members are just as desperate as the Democrats right now, so the two of them getting together is no surprise. And historically speaking, Democrats have always been union friendly. So obviously throwing $88 million to help these candidates to try to win. But the bottom line is that Employee Free Choice Act is the legislation that is so pro-union friendly that Obama's been talking about it, as well as the other Democrats. So the Democrats or the unions know that they need that legislation passed. And there is a solid shot that even if the Democrats lose on November 2nd, you're still going to have this passed through a lame duck session because the unions need extra members, and they obviously want to increase their dues. So no surprise here. Their unions are going to be they're going to continue to be paralyzing job growth in this country. And I'm sure Erica can agree with that statement right there.
I think Erica can.
I'd like to jump in here. I mean, the employee free trade, the card check is what they call it. Basically, there's not a single serious person in Washington who thinks there's any chance that this is going to pass. If it was going to pass, it would have passed. The Obama administration has not been strong out in favor of it, which is part of the problem that the unions have with them.
I hope you're right.
And I want to talk about job killing for a second, because I constantly hear this when I talk to business people, and I just have to tell you, you know, think whatever you want to think. I believe most politicians are bought and paid for in some way or another. But what you have to ask yourself is who is doing the buying and selling. And, you know, the oil and gas companies spent $268 million in the last 20 years trying to buy politicians, and they spent 75% of that on Republicans. And then the oil rig workers are represented largely by unions, and they contribute to Democrats.
Todd, let's get back on track here and get back on topic if we can. I mean, you mentioned the dues that these union members are paying to the AFL CIO and the other union. I mean, at the same time, these dues are what is going to be funding these campaigns if these union members have jobs. That is the issue here, Todd. Well, let me go to Todd on this one, Erica, is jobs. They want to secure their jobs. While the private sector, we've seen nothing but losses in the private sector, non-union jobs, Todd.
That's right. And this actually explains why Obama and the rest of the Democrats want that EFCA passed, because the bottom line is they want non-union companies to be able to form unions, that maybe that's going to create jobs. Bottom line is, though, is that when you start talking about job creation in this country, the unions are great because they keep you employed. They will permanently keep you employed if you can create that union. It's the private sector, the small business owner, that doesn't want any type of legislation passed. They don't want the unions. They know unions are going to paralyze job growth in this country. And, you know, Erica, we could talk all about the money that the big oil companies are spending and all this other stuff. But let's talk about that Jones Act. You know, when we start talking about the BP oil spill, you know, when you had that happen, Obama could not look at foreign countries for help because of the Jones Act, because he was protecting the unions that are down there.
First of all, that's not true. Dive into the details of that, and that's absolutely not true. And I'll be happy to write a memo for you on exactly why it's not true. But what I want to talk about is the 11 workers who died on that rig while Tony Hayward is sailing around the world, and you want to make a value decision about who you'd rather have fighting for you on Capitol Hill. Both parties leave a lot to be desired, but who is in the pocket of these corporations worse than the other person? And that is Republicans. up and down the board,
Well,
period.
Guys, hold on a second, because we're talking about the Service Employees Union, and then we're talking about the AFL CIO.
Right,
Both of these
hospital aid
companies are
workers
talking...
who makes about $18,000 a year. I mean,
Okay,
are you kidding me?
You're jumping from
come
well
on.
workers to nurses. Okay,
$18,000 a year, and they had
The
$88 million
Republicans work
to
for
spare?
Lloyd Blankfein, who made $67 million a year the year before he broke the economy.
Hey, Erica, would you be happy if Goldman Sachs employees formed a union? I mean, would you then embrace Goldman Sachs?
They don't need to get a union. The average worker at Goldman Sachs makes $500,000 a year.
All right.
They don't need a union.
They should be making more.
You think the people who broke the economy should make more money, Todd? I think that is actually the disconnect between Democrats and Republicans.
Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't want to get back
That is
Erica,
the disconnect. Who do you work for?
I don't want to get into another Lloyd Blankfein bashing segment today because we've done it for the last 3 weeks, but I do want to bring in Greg Sheridan.